YouTube. Welcome to the JW Sports Talk Show. As we are getting ready to come to a close of Week 5, we have the Green Bay Packers heading to Las Vegas to play the Las Vegas Raiders. Good matchup tonight. Interesting matchup. Not an easy one to predict, but there are a few things you can look at and say, hey, this team does this better, or this team does that better. There's a few things you can look at, and it's kind of, going to be a toss-up. It's up to you to decide kind of who you think is going to win and take it home. So first off, before we get into some of the storylines, some keys, and some things to really talk about, I'd like to get into the injuries for tonight. So for the Raiders, we always start with the home team for storylines, everything, injuries. So for the Raiders, you have two cornerbacks who are listed as questionable, David Long Jr. and Jacorian Bennett. So a little beat up in the secondary, and Nate Hobbs is already out. So you're really beat up in the secondary. Hopefully you get two, at least one out of two of those guys to go. If not, it's still going to hurt not having Nate Hobbs. He is probably their best corner they have, and he's not great himself, but he's decent enough to get the job done once in a while. He's maybe average. Then for the Green Bay Packers, the injury list is a bit more extensive as you have a lot more star players listed on the injury report. First off, you have cornerback Jay Alexander. I'm pretty sure he is expected to play, so we see him play. That would be important. That would be good because Davante Adams is expected to play, so hopefully he can play. Cornerback Eric Stokes, he is questionable. So and then safety Rudy Ford. So you have three guys who in that secondary are pretty beat up. So it looks like both of these secondaries are really beat up, but hopefully the Packers can have at least two of these guys go. And if they had to pick two, obviously Jair would be one, and two would probably be Eric Stokes. So who is out for the Packers? You have running back Aaron Jones, linebacker Devondre Campbell, and safety Zane Anderson. So Devondre Campbell hurts, especially for how weak that running defense has been, even with him being in there. I think he was in there week 1 or 2, and then he's been hurt since. So still dealing with some kind of injury there, but he is out, and that definitely hurts because you're playing one of the better run games in the NFL. Well, one of the better running backs in the NFL. The offensive line isn't great, but Josh Jacobs is a very good playmaker. He will find ways to, to find some holes and ultimately have a good day and could have a really good day against the Packers. So without Devondre Campbell, that hurts. And then running back Aaron Jones, that hurts a little bit. It hurts a lot. The Raiders don't have a very good defense, and that's where the Packers really have a good shot in this one. The Packers have a decent defense. They have a decent team all around, but their running defense is pretty horrible. And if Jordan Love is going to throw some interceptions, throw some turnovers, the Raiders can run the football, Jimmy G is back, Davante Adams is back, I can see the Raiders pulling this one off. But really, this matchup can go either way for me, because if Jordan Love plays a good game, like we saw versus when he played a very, very poor defense in Week 1 versus the Bears, he had no issues whatsoever. So I'm kind of expecting that to be the case tonight with the Raiders, for them to be able to do just enough, Jordan Love to not make too many mistakes, because this Raiders defense isn't really capable of making many mistakes. It's a one-man show over there, so they're going to have to find someone else other than Max Crosby to be getting pressure on the quarterback. So speaking of one-man show, no, we're not there yet. But the receivers could have a long night, especially if Jair and Eric Stokes plays. But if they do play, they're already questionable. They may not be at 100%, which can be a positive and a little bit of an advantage for these receivers, especially you have Devontae, Jacoby Myers. You do have, Hunter Renfrow. You do have some very strong receivers in this room, but you're also playing a very good cornerback room, a very good Packers defense who can they can force turnovers. They can get pressure on the quarterback, but they really struggle against the run. So they will need to get the running game going tonight. If the Raiders can get the run game going at a high level, they get a turnover or two, I have high praise, and I think that they can win this football game. But for them to do that, it can't be a one-man show on defense. It can't just be Max Crosby all day long. You have to have someone else there showing up. Haven't really had that guy. Max Crosby is great. He's phenomenal. He's one of the best edge rushers in the league. He's a premier rusher. Other than that, you don't really have much in defense. The defensive back room is, but you don't have good cornerbacks. The secondary in general is not great. The rest of the defensive line, linebackers are shaky. There's not really too much on that Raiders defense, but if they want to win this game, force a turnover or two, someone other than Max Crosby will have to step up. Can't be a one-man show on defense. The Packers will need to pressure Jordan Love. Jordan Love is not great under pressure. He has not been a great quarterback. He's been very mid. But if you could pressure him and Max Crosby can find a way to get at him, which that Packers offensive line is not great. It's definitely not as good as an Aaron Rodgers offensive line. It's not absolutely horrible, but it's not great. Dave Bakhtiari is not playing. He's out for the rest of the season. That's a big loss. And Max Crosby could line up everywhere, outside, inside, both sides of the line. Doesn't matter where it is, he could line up, and you bet he will take advantage of whoever's on the left side. Just hasn't been a great year so far for the Packers in terms of the offensive line compared to in their past. But the Raiders will need to protect Jimmy G themselves, give him a chance to get the football out to Davante Adams or Kobe Myers. Davante Adams is going to want his revenge game, so hopefully the Packers can keep him under light. And like I said, these corners for the Packers can be a bit banged up coming into this one, but Davante Adams also is banged up as well. He's not going to be 100% with the shoulder, although he is playing. Move over to the Packers side of things. Their cornerback room is very deep. They have Eric Stokes. They have Jaire Alexander, and then they have some guys behind those two that can make some plays as well. They have Rasul Douglas. They also have Carrington Valentine, Keisean Nixon. Now, those guys are Jaire Alexander and Eric Stokes. I thought Stokes has been all right so far this season. Jaire Alexander, we all know that Jaire is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. But I'll tell you, man, they have a deep cornerback room, but you're going up against, if you don't have Jaire or Eric Stokes, it could be a long night because you're going up against Davante. You're going up against Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow. And on top of that, a very experienced quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. Those are some receivers that can get the ball open. All of them are very smart, good route runners. They know where to go. So it can be really tough for this Packers cornerback room to make some plays. And, that's what kind of worries me. But who will really need to step up is Jordan Love. But speaking of Jordan Love, the offense needs to find some consistency. The offense has so inconsistent. They're having halves where they're looking really good. They're having games where they're looking really good. But Jordan Love is so mid. His ball placement is horrible. His ball placement is so bad. It reminds me of Carson Wentz. How Carson, it makes it so much more difficult for a receiver to catch the ball and run and get a couple of extra yards if you're going to throw it behind them or a little too low, a little too high. It really impacts your offense on being able to get those few extra yards to make, that next down easier, to make that next down a little more manageable. But Jordan Love, the way, he doesn't have good ball placement. He just overthrows open receivers sometimes, or he's just not reading the field well, overthrowing, just being inaccurate, bad decisions. I think Jordan Love has been the definition of mid, very average so far this season. So he better not, throw interceptions. He better not struggle with that. Otherwise, you know what? It could be a long night because that Packers run defense isn't great. I mean, I'll tell you the Raiders offensive line isn't great, but you have Josh Jacobs on the other side, and then on your side, Aaron Jones isn't expected to play. But this offense is going to have to find some consistency if they want to beat the Raiders tonight. That Raiders offense will make plays. You have Jimmy G who knows how to lead offense. You have some good receivers, some very smart receivers. Top of that, you have one of the best in the league in Davante Adams. It's just, it could be a very long night. And on top of that, if they can't get anything going against this Raiders defense, then it could be a long night. It can. But I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers. Oh my gosh, you just noticed how uneven that is. That is horrible. But I'm taking the Green Bay Packers 29-22. I know it's a very weird score, but you know what, man? I'm just going to pick a weird score and go with it. So the reason why I am taking the Packers is because I have more trust. I have less trust in the Raiders defense than I do in the Packers. And I think that Packers defense can make that extra play. That, in Jimmy Garoppolo in this offense they make little stupid mistakes. They make ridiculous mistakes. He's probably, someone might phone. He will probably throw a pick. Which is not. I trust this Packers defense way more than Raiders. Only thing I don't trust it more with is stopping the run, especially since you have your superstar lineman out in Devondre Campbell. Ugh, it's rough. It's rough having him out because your run defense has been horrible. So, going up against Josh Jacobs, your defense line is not full health. I mean, the Raiders' offense line isn't great, but Josh Jacobs could create. He's going to make guys miss. He's going to run people over. So, it could be this, like I said, this game can really go either way. It could go either way. And it's going to be a very good game tonight. A very close game, in my opinion. But I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers. Do I have more faith in Jordan Love or Jimmy Garoppolo? At this point, I might have more faith in Jimmy Garoppolo. But like I said, I trust the Packers defense to make that extra play more than the Raiders. But the Raiders offense can also make some extra plays. But the last time Jordan Love played a very poor defense was the Chicago Bears, one of the worst in the league. This defense is one of the worst as well. So I think that plays in the Packers, Jordan Love's favor. No Aaron Jones, definitely hurts. You do have A.J. Dillon, hasn't been great, but the offensive line hasn't been great. But I'll take the Green Bay Packers 29-22 tonight. And that's all I got for my predictions for our Monday Night Football preview. I'm sorry I'm cutting a little short. I have to get it out here. I'm running a little late on the videos. But I'm taking the Green Bay Packers 29-22 over the Las Vegas Raiders. And that's all I got for you guys this week. Give me your comments, your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. I'd like to hear them. I'd like to talk about some football. You guys let me know what you think. Thank you for tuning into the JW Sports Talk Show. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. This is the JW Sports Talk Show, signing off.